Hi, welcome to the Compassion Project. Today, we are going to be playing a game of Cool to Connect Couple. And my brave couple today is Meg and Derrick from Indianapolis. Welcome.
Hey,
I'm always excited to play this game. It's called Cool to Connect. It is a thought-provoking game. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be asking 3 surprise questions. Meg and Derrick have no idea what I'm going to be asking. And then, we'll just let the conversation flow. And it'll be inspiring, trust me. So these two, I call them a power couple because they really are an amazing couple and inspire so many people. And I'm super blessed to know you guys. They've been together for 3 years, but they have known each other for 15, right? And they're my first newlyweds. They got married a month ago in Kauai. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. So Megan, if you don't mind sharing quickly, or Derrick, how you guys met.
I like it, Derrick. I love hearing him say it. Just do the quick version, because
what's a quick version of how you met?
I'm the novelist of a writer.
This is true. Well, we met, like you said, 15 years ago. We were opening a brand new restaurant as servers. So we were servers. What, 50, was it 15? Yeah, I guess it was 2006, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it was so 15 years ago, we were both starting this restaurant, opening it brand new as servers, and I saw her walking in from outside, from the left side of the building, and my eyes was locked on her as soon as I saw her, and I was like, I'm gonna like working here. That's what I said to myself. I was like, I'm gonna like working here. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing, and but soon thereafter, we became really great friends. And so I played in the friend zone and
Me too.
For a long time. So we were in the friend zone for quite some time. But that evolved.
Yeah. So then basically from there, we tried dating a little bit years ago, and then I wasn't ready because I had called a wedding off, and then we went our separate ways down 2 different paths that were not right for us. And then we came back together, and now we're married.
Yep.
Wow. I am excited. I think, it's amazing. And especially when you have that friend base and there's a connection, is there. You know? So, and actually tell people about that Love Legacy. I'm sure people want to know that Love Legacy sweatshirt.
We have both of these shirts on, which we were supposed to wear when we were on our honeymoon, like on the flights and stuff, but we had issues with all that because we were on your platform to share. And a friend of ours made them, Jamie, shout out to Jamie. And it's one of our big missions as a couple, and something that we want to inspire other people to do, to think about their love story being a legacy for their family, and to show their continued family and whoever you meet, like friends that are like family, the power of what true love can be, and continuing to pass that on as a form of a legacy too. I don't know if
I mean, I believe that, as well as just, that's what we need more of in this world, is just love. I believe that it's one of those things that people try to, especially men, from my standpoint, men try to harden up. They want to talk about love or being loving and all that fact. But I mean, love is the biggest and the best motivator in this world. It is the most inspiring thing, and love will make you do some amazing things in this world. If we have some more love, we can continue to see how beautiful this world is. And so that's really what it is.
I agree. Oh, this is perfect. I love it. Okay. Let's start. But it is true, Derrick. We need more love in the world for sure. And people
do.
I know, to be aware of that, and I could talk about that. Okay. So Cool to Connect is a game that was started by Dana Clark. She has a company called Heroic Humans. She's from Toronto, Canada. These are connection cards, and there's a deck of 52 cards with thought-provoking questions. And so what I do is I just shuffle them up so that I have no idea what questions you're going to get, and either do you. And then I'll read the question, and you guys can decide who wants to go first to answer the questions.
Do we both answer them, or just one, or
you each answer them? Yeah, you both answer them. But you kind of decide, do you want to go first, or do you want to go first? Okay, so I'm going to just give them a little shuffle. I'll let the universe decide, which questions. Shuffle it up. Okay, ready?
Ready.
Okay, I always get nervous for the first questions. Even though I have answered them myself. I've answered them all. Okay, so this is interesting.
Oh no.
It's like the couple get nervous. Okay, so if you really knew me, that would be you talking, like Megan and Derrick. If you really knew me, you would know that. So it's like finishing that sentence, like Megan saying, if you really knew me, you would know that. Yeah, that's good, right?
If you really knew me, you would know. Wait, do I do it for myself or for him?
Yeah, no, for yourself.
I could connect to anything, like a wall. That's like my favorite thing. Two things, connection and creativity. So if you know me, which however we met, whether it's in the line at a grocery store, someone at Starbucks, you know that I like to connect.
Okay, that's good. So you connect easily with anyone.
Yes.
Yes. Wall. Yeah. Yeah, she can connect.
Okay, that's good. What about you, Derrick?
Wow, this is good.
I know. If you really knew me, I think it's a good question because I just believe that we put on this role, or we go out in the world and we put on the everything's fine, everything's great, and people don't know the true you. And then sometimes you get home and like, this is who I am. And so that question, if you really knew me, you would know. I think it's getting to know someone's pure like heart or something.
I know it's kind of cool too, because I'm like already thinking like 5 things that he might say, so I'm trying to think of which one he's going to say for him.
Yeah, so? Good. I mean, I guess I'm thinking for myself, if you really knew me, you would know that in my life, God comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Okay.
That was one of the ones I was thinking that you might say, but I was also thinking like intentional, driven, disciplined, leader, all those.
I wouldn't call it.
But I love that you said that God comes first, because that is important. And with all the other things that who you are, all those other things, but without God coming first for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's good for me. Everybody has their own structure to their identity, but that's where my identity begins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, were you raised as a child, did your family go to church, or was it something you found?
That's a great question. So yeah, we did go to church. We were very active. I mean, active in the church. I grew up in the church choir and all that stuff. It all was in one ear and out the other. I don't believe I wasn't connected necessarily to the church at a young age. I had a moment where I was maybe like 11, I believe, when I actually they're doing the altar call, and I'm like, I want to go get baptized and all this stuff. And I did that but when you're young, you really don't understand what's going on. Maybe it was just for attention. I don't know.
And you were in the choir?
And yeah, I was in the choir. I could sing back then. That was before my voice broke. And so that was never set root in me there.
Right.
So it wasn't until I think I was in college and I asked myself a question one day. And the question that I asked myself was, how can I live this life without first studying all religions, and secondly, not reading the entire Bible, and coming up with my own perspective about what I believe in? And so I took a religion course. I started studying all kinds of different religions. I read the entire Bible front to back. I don't know how many times I've done it now, but at that time I did it. And the more I got into the Word, the more the Word got into me.
Yeah.
What was that?
I think that's, what was that?
No, I was just going to say, from meeting him in college, when he was kind of maybe just a couple of years into that journey, not everything in his life was aligned with where it is now, but I knew that was in him. And I also knew that my faith had kind of been a roller coaster, and I didn't think that was an area I could fake in order to have him like me. Like, that's something you gotta like.
Yeah.
So I definitely saw that in you in college too. So
I think it's interesting. It's such a huge subject too, because I think we go through our childhood and whether our parents take us to church, or like I went to church when I was little, but then my parents stopped going to church when I was like 7. And then it's almost like, I feel like, because we're born, and I believe from God or whatever, when you're born and you're kind of pure and all that, and then you get into what people say and just life, and then I think a lot of our purpose in life is getting back to that place truly inside ourselves, that we have that belief in God and the higher power or whatever. But it's got to come personally from us. When there's no one around, you're not trying to prove anything. You're just connecting and become very aware that there's something more. It's like almost an awakening or something, but sometimes it takes your life to get back to that place, like truly. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Gotta get on to the next question.
No, you're great.
Okay, so that was good. See, it's an interesting subject, and a lot of people can relate. Okay. I think I even know what you guys are going to say to this, but I'll read it. What is the best decision you have ever made?
We just have to pick one?
Yeah, that's hard.
I know. It's like, what is the best decision? I'm sure if you have a couple, you can say a couple. But
this is going to sound really cheesy.
That's okay.
And you don't have to follow my footsteps if this is not what you want to do for yours. But mine was the crazy text I sent you that day. The day we reconnected after having a hiatus, the random out-of-body text that was so ridiculous that I sent him.
Okay, so had you not talked for a while?
No, so we went through a phase where.
How many years, man?
It was a good, decent amount of years, and so we ended up going our separate ways. And I was going through something, and I just randomly, when I was in the gym, was like really just in my feelings, like not in a good space. Messaged him out of the blue. Hadn't talked to him for years. And my text message to him was so weird. It's not even something I would say.
It was.
What did it say?
She's like, "Hey, this is Meg. Do you remember me?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Do y'all remember you?" Like,
and I sent it out. It was literally. I always say, like, it was totally a God thing, because like, A, we hadn't talked forever. B, I sent it, and I honestly did not expect to hear from him. I think I'd sent him a couple texts throughout the years. It was more business related, like just keeping him up to date, but never heard back from him because we went our separate ways. And I like set my phone down, and I was in the gym working out, and all of a sudden my phone dings. I'm like, I didn't think it was him. And then I look at my phone, I'm like, oh, like it was like he arose from the dead. I always say he resurrected.
Yeah, you are.
Because it was such a surprise, and I'm so glad, even though it felt like it was an out-of-body experience, which just sounds weird, that I messaged him, and then he messaged me back, and then that's where everything stemmed and how we are where we are today. So to me, I would say that's definitely probably one of my top 3.
Wow. And you know what is so cool too, is I think it's that there's more to life. There's more, like when you're in tune, or that guidance systems they call it, that inner intuition, or just that fleeting moment of, I'm gonna message Derrick. Like it's just like, and you followed through, right? And you might not have, your life would have gone a different way, and I think so many people get lost in their thoughts and the craziness, instead of like this gut, like, oh, maybe I'll message this person. Or when someone comes to mind and you get this feeling to do something, you really should do it. It's I think the universe, God, whatever everyone calls something different, what they believe in, guiding you.
Well, and the craziest thing too, the day prior, I had like a fancy dinner at one of my friends' house who helps run a lot of restaurants, and we were just talking about relationship stuff, and I brought Derrick up, which I had done multiple times. Like, people knew our story, that were close with me, and I brought him up, and I was going through and telling her all the things. She didn't know all of that part of the story. I laid out everything, and at the end, she was like, well, why aren't you together? And I'm like, because XYZ and all this stuff. Yeah. And literally the next day, it like came to be, and I even messaged her. She's like, are you serious? This happened? And at the same time, like, he had Googled me that week prior.
Yeah. Now you're getting into my side.
Okay. Answer, but it's just crazy.
I love that. Okay, how about you, Derrick? What is the best decision you have ever made?
Rotate to the other side of the perspective. One of the most best decisions I've made outside of serving God. I think that's just one thing, but it would be breaking the pattern that I've lived my whole life. So let me take a step back. So when you asked that first question, if you really knew me, you would know. Well, the very second thing that would come to my mind is, if you really knew me, you know that I'm a really focused person. And focused to the point where it's a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. So it can be very good because it will definitely eventually chase down whatever it is that I'm aiming at. I'm gonna get to that thing, or we are, or whatever it is. But the bad thing about it is there's no sometimes concern for any other thing that goes on. So with that being said, my normal pattern is when somebody that I don't see on a regular basis, or I don't talk to, or anything like that, if they message me or something, I just swipe away.
Trash. He'll have like 30 unread text messages. That would drive me insane.
And I don't pay any attention to it. And it's not that it's not personal at all. It's just it's taking me away from. I don't believe in taking time away from what I'm focused on. If I'm focused on something, I'm focused on that. And so I'll put something else in. And maybe it's that compartmentalization where I just throw the other things away. And I'm like, I don't care about that. Let me just focus on this right now. And that's just kind of how I am. So on the other side of that, to answer the question, to get all the way back to it, I think the best decision I ever made was to break that decision of saying, and see that message and respond. And so the reason why I did was because I would say the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. I always told you that. Mm-hmm. So the law of attraction.
I love the law of attraction.
She texted me on a Monday. That Friday, I had been thinking about her, and I haven't seen her in over 5 years. Okay. I've been thinking about her. I actually looked her up on the internet and saw her website. I thought she was living in New York at the time. At that time, I was in,
you were in Orlando.
I was in Orlando. So yeah, and I was at a conference.
A leadership conference.
Yes, I was at a conference in Orlando, but I had been looking her up, and I just, my mind just thought, in my mind, it's very hard to get away from focusing on that thing. So, but I did for a moment. I was thinking about her, and I was like, man, she's the best girl ever. Oh well.
So when he got back on the plane, he forgot he had done that, and it was still up in his browser.
Yeah.
So on his computer. So we're like, this is just so crazy.
It's really crazy. So she messages me, and I'm like, I had to do a double take, and I saw her number, and why was her phone number, not her name, her phone number was still etched in my mind. I knew exactly what number it was when I saw this 5620, and I was like, whoa. And so it's like, I don't know this number. But I saw that number, I was like, wait a minute.
That is so awesome. So it was the Friday before when you looked her up, and then on the Monday you'd messaged him. That is the law of attraction at work.
Oh, wow. So
right?
I was pretty.
And you guys obviously had to go your separate ways and figure some things out to get to the place where you were ready to get back together.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that's amazing.
That's the biggest thing, I think, that when we did come together, I don't know if I'm ever going to feel that feeling that I had that day. And maybe you not either, because it was just the most surreal, crazy. My friends that heard me over on the phone that day were like, whatever this is, we need to bottle it up and sell it, because it is on another. I mean, I could not ground myself. I was so everywhere, and he couldn't even focus. The Mr. Focus, he was at a leadership conference. He's like, these people just keep talking and I can't think. Yeah. And it was really fun, but just all of that, just coming back together, I always, for me, after we went our separate ways, I always said, you know what, if I am given another chance, because there was a lot of regret that I dealt with, that I didn't go after, I wasn't ready at the time and all those things. I said I would do anything. And so when we did come back together to have that time apart, he noticed. You noticed the confidence and like the assuredness of myself, because he knew me back in 2006 when I struggled with self-esteem, and he called me the ugly duckling because he said, you don't understand how beautiful you are. Like, you don't see it like I see it. Stuff. And so all the work to be able to show up, like I feel like sometimes people really need to put themselves in our footsteps. The person that you always had loved, the person that you always tried to show off for, the person that would make you sweat, like, because you're so in your nerves and in your feelings or whatever, shows back up, and you've worked on yourself this whole entire time, so that when you do show up, you're not questioning yourself. You're not holding yourself back. You're like, yo, this is me. I told him everything. I said, this is exactly who I am. I shared so much stuff because I didn't want to hide. I didn't want to live with regrets. I wanted to let him know where I was at in life. And it was kind of like all the barriers that I had put up for years, just they were down. They were open. I was like, hey, this is me.
It's like a beautiful thing. And you know what? It really is sad how hard women are on ourselves. And I just hope something changes for the next generation. It's got to come from the parents to raise healthy women that are confident in their bodies and how they look, and to be able to just completely love themselves. And, but it takes so much work. I mean, I also struggled. So that was, I totally get what you're saying. And it's like, you get to the point where I think gratitude for just your health and what you have, you switch your mindset to, and I think it's beautiful when a woman can actually be like, this is me, like no makeup, just me. And I really believe a lot of time a woman is more beautiful when they wake up in the morning, they have no makeup, they're real. And, and yet we are so self-conscious or worry what everyone thinks. I don't.
Well, even to go on that, you're like that too. You don't. He knows I don't wear a ton of makeup, never have. But I mean, I put some on. But even when we got married, I told him that I was going to look like myself walking down the aisle. I wasn't. There's a lot, and everybody can be different. I know this is one of the most special days of your life, but to me, it was really important that I looked like myself.
Yeah.
And I didn't put on this whole facade that wasn't Meg. Of our relationship, when that's not how I was the whole entire time. So when I came down, he already knew in his head. He tried to describe what he thought my dress was going to look like for Hawaii, which is definitely different than maybe my everyday style.
Yeah,
you pretty much nailed it without me telling you.
And it was gorgeous. Loved it. Well, actually, and I think of my wedding, because I got married in the 80s, so I had the permed hair, and I did my own makeup. I had my permed 80s hair and my little veil on.
Awesome.
Like doing all of your stuff. Like, again, everybody's different. I wanted to do my own. I wanted me to look like me.
Yeah.
I wanted my hair to be like me, and not
just
have that
more natural. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a really awesome answer. I love that, because it's such a little decision, but it just affected your whole life. And that decision, both of you, I think, it was coming from somewhere else. It was almost like that knowing that it was right. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Ask some final question. Take a minute to brag about your latest accomplishment.
You go first this time.
You go first?
Because he's super humble.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's good. Your latest accomplishment. When I read the questions, I have to even thinking about myself too, because I think when I had answered the question, when I did it a while ago, I had talked about the Compassion Project, because I had done so much of it through the pandemic and done like 130 interviews. And I was like, I felt like I connected a lot of people. And anyway, so can you think of something?
Yes.
Okay, Derrick.
So my latest accomplishment and took so long to get to, and I think it started with me and just being able to focus on how I can continue to become the best version of Derrick that I could be. And as I continue to focus on becoming the best version of Derrick I can be, which I'm still focused on that, but I've come so far, I was able to marry my best friend. And that is the biggest accomplishment, because it's like winning. It's better than winning any jackpot. I don't care what you say. When you know that you've got the best person in the world with you, supporting you, the foundation of the rest of your life. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's the biggest accomplishment ever. And to know that it's like, it's done. Like, it's like I won. It's like I won. It's like you're jumping up and down. And you're like, I won. It's serious, and it's like, you know that you won. It's like, it doesn't matter what else happens from here on out. I know that we're together, and I know that we'll be in alignment. That we're in alignment, and nobody ever said things are going to be easy. I mean, money and stuff can come, positions that you get in life, they come and go. All these different things, your health come and goes, your looks fade. All those things all fade away. But when you're with the person that is connected to your soul for the rest of your life, it's like, when you know you've got that, it's amazing. And know that you are not only loving someone, but you're being loved.
Yeah, for who you are, for your true self, right?
Yeah, so that's the best and the best. That's my most recent accomplishment, is that I just married a bombshell over here.
Okay, that honestly, that's beautiful, amazing. I love it. Look at Megan's on emotion. I was like, oh, now it's Megan's gonna.
I know, I always cry.
So that was perfect, Derrick. So
here's mine.
I know. It's crazy how this has kind of turned into like love fest. I don't know. It's all right.
It's a couples connect, so it's good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to segue some of mine rooted in that, but it's a little bit different. So
I'm gonna read it again. It's take a minute to brag about your latest accomplishment.
Okay. So for me personally, it's going to be a business thing, but it's founded in my own testimony, in our testimony. So when I'm super passionate about helping women get out of their own way.
Yeah.
Because I know I was in my own way when Derrick and I met.
Right.
I know the pain and the frustration and all of that goes into that. And I know it's not living even half of the life that you can actually live. So when you see a story go from, and our story is not done, I mean, it's just begun, but when you see a testimony of yourself, of all the tests that you've gone through, and you continue to show up, even when it was ugly, even when there was a lot of shame, even when you didn't have the slightest clue what was going on in your life, and you made it to literally marry your best friend, it pushes me on another level to want to become an even better coach and to become someone that pulls women out of that area, out of that struggle, out of that shame, out of, the darkness, the regret, all the betrayal, rejection, all those things, the people pleasing. That's another big thing, to let all of that go. And it's an ongoing thing. I still have to continue to work on myself, but to be like, look, I'm going to help you do this a lot faster, because you're not going to do it by yourself. And so for me, I see part of our story as one of my greatest and as one of your greatest testimonials of faith, of endurance, of a crazy fight, a crazy battle to get there. And it's so amazing. I want everybody to feel that. When you see people not living at that and just settling in their life and just settling is so big. It doesn't have to be that way. There's always a way. Marie Forleo says everything's figure outable. I truly believe that, but you have to be willing to do it. So for me, I think that's one of my biggest accomplishments, because I have a whole other level to really help fight the devils that women go through. The devils that face them, and men too.
You're getting me excited over here. You're like,
it's becoming. That was the word for the year, is become, because I knew that there was a lot of becoming this year. I was going to become a wife, a bonus mom. Hopefully we start our family, and business things and life things. So I think I am so driven and rooted in that. It's a whole nother another drive. It's something
Yeah.
that's like been unleashed. And I've told him forever, I felt like this year, people always say this year, but it's almost like things have been planted. Things have been planted a long time ago. Same thing with us. And now it's time, like, let's blossom, let's go, let's become.
Yeah,
And
that's
help
amazing.
people get out of their own way. So that's
because that's your website. What is the name of your website again?
makechurch.com.
Makechurch.com. And is it that the self-sabotage slayer, that one, like helping people, helping women?
Yep.
Is it like, would you say it's like that peeling the onion? I never used to understand that analogy, when to get to the true self, you're peeling the layers of an onion. I get it now. When you really start to work on yourself and realize that you're almost hidden in things that have happened in your life, and you look back at your life and think, wow, I put on this almost like a cocoon of safety, and it's not, and the real person's underneath. So you're helping women shed all those beliefs that aren't true.
Yeah. And truly it's not just for yourself. Like and I'm not like pushing business right now. It's just, that was my thing that I felt. But when you realize sometimes it's not more and more and more that you need. That's something we both teach. It's not, you don't need more. You don't need the fancy car. You don't need to go on all the vacations if you can't pay for this. You don't need all the external stuff if you haven't dealt with the internal. And so when you look truly at what levels of self-sabotage are showing up in your life, and you start just plucking them away one by one by one, you're going to be able to show up and be confident in who you are. And then on days where you're not confident, or you're doubting yourself, or you're questioning yourself, or you're at war with yourself, which still happens, we're not like, you can talk them out, and you can point them out, because you're aware, and you're like, hey, this is happening to me right now. I feel like I'm under attack. I got to get out of this. So we're both big, huge believers, and it's not always more. It's how can you remove? How can you detox? How can you shed those layers that are preventing you from truly moving the next step forward? Yeah.
And what's interesting you said in there, I thought, is that it's almost like you develop the tools to handle something quicker.
Yes.
In the past, it might have taken you out for a week, or in almost like a depression, or in even eating bad and trying to feel, but you can be aware and be like, okay, wait, I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? When you become aware of how you're feeling, then you become aware of your thoughts, and you can actually learn to change your thoughts, change your state. It's almost like you learn those tools to be like, no. And I've seen that now. I used to get like, it would be, I could get in a really bad place, or almost depression, and just down on myself. And now I've got so many tools to be like, no, let's start with gratitude right now. Like, and why am I feeling down? I don't know. So let's snap out of it. Let's think of joyous thoughts. Let's go get out in nature, do all the tools to bring you back and find your living in that true state of joy.
He's the best at that.
Yeah.
So I think we've talked about, you and I have talked about the Enneagram. I don't know if you've ever figured out which one you are, but for me, my natural state, I'm an achiever, but when I go into stress mode, my automatic default mode based off of the Enneagram is worst case scenario. And so I don't know if you're like this or not, but like Derrick doesn't have like a bone in his body, a cell in his body that goes to this. But I feel like since a kid, I've always had that. Like it goes from like, to everything you can possibly imagine to go wrong. You're going to put it in your head, and you're fighting that. And you're like, okay, I got to get this one out of my head. Get this one out. And so when you realize, okay, when you're stressed and that's the thing what's happening, you can pause and have someone like him even be like, okay, babe, we got to look at all the things that are going right. Yeah. You'll always do that.
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
We haven't even faced this yet, but yet you're worrying and creating this whole like case study on it.
Yeah, we do. That's the difference between the men and women. I think the men and women's brains and how we think. But that was amazing. You guys are fantastic. So probably should sign off, because I could just keep talking to you. But I want to do 3 super quick questions, and you have to answer just really fast. What comes to your mind first? Ready?
Okay.
Favorite personal growth book?
I gotta go with Think and Grow Rich. I mean, I loved it. So it's a classic.
I don't know. Joy's knocking on the door.
Oh, let her in.
Joy, come here.
And then a favorite mindset coach?
Gym room.
And what are you most grateful for? I think she's coming in the room right now, and then we'll say goodbye. She can come in. And then we'll sign off.
Come here.
Is that your little girl?
Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta be good on here. Come here.
Yeah, come say hi.
Grateful for having two
Grateful for hi.
Hi.
Hi, sweetie. My name's Jane.
Say hi.
Say hi. Don't be nervous.
You nervous?
Aw, so cute. Right there. I'll say, what are you grateful for? For her?
Oh, that was his. Oh, this is what I'm grateful for right here.
Yeah.
This is what I'm grateful for.
Aw, okay. Well, thanks for joining me. This was super fun. You guys are amazing.
Thank you. You're amazing. We just love what you do.
Yeah, this is fun.
And if anybody is really perpetuating this whole love legacy, you are definitely holding a flame. Like this compassion project and just a connection project is amazing. And so you inspire so many people. And you've said words that were overly too kind about us, but we just want to say that you're amazing, and we just appreciate what you do. And even just watching you, and it's amazing how many people that watch you that you don't even realize that are watching you, and how many lives that you touch that you don't even know that you do. So keep doing what you're doing, because you're amazing.
Thank you so much. Okay, we will sign off.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
She just licked me.
Aw. Bye.
Joy.